Armin W. Ranger. When somebody shoots at you, it ain't no fun. Somebody's always shooting at you. You think that's fun? Don't let nobody fool you. There ain't no wars good. They're all bad. Vietnam, Korea, Second World War, Korean War. They're all very, very bad. It brings memories. You think about it sometimes, but very seldom you think about it. Sometimes when you sleep, you dream about it. Every man thinks about it once in a while, not all the time. When I was young, we loaded up in a plane, a C-47. Each man weighed about 200-something pounds, because we were loaded with ammunition, sea rations, and everything. Get ready for the first combat jump over Korea. And that was in 1950. And we all waited, and when it was time, we made our first combat jump in North Korea. The first combat jump was in Pyongyang. That's in North Korea. That's the capital of North Korea, by the way. And when we made our jump, it was not easy. It was a lot of flak, a lot of people getting shot. It was no picnic. And then when we landed on the drop zone, each man had to go to a certain destination to meet his platoon and his squad or whatever you want to be. Therefore, well, you always lived in fear. You lived in fear all the time. There was not a day that didn't go by that you didn't live in fear. But then again, you got to block it out of your mind, because if you don't, you lose your concentration and everything. You go out of your mind. We ate sea rations, little boxes, what you call K rations. They had 3 meals in it. They had breakfast, dinner, and supper. They come in cans. And after a while, you got used to it. You got to like them. As long as you had a little place to cook them and everything, they were pretty good. But most of the time, you had to eat them cold, and that's not too good. There's a lot of grease in there. You always slept out in the weather now. You slept in the field, you slept in foxholes. You had pub tents and all that. And it was cold. It was real, real cold. Remember the snow we just had? Over there was 10 times worse than that, freezing all the time. But you were pretty equipped for that. You're always in the snow, rain, or whatever. Korean War, it's been exactly about 14 months. That was straight combat, though. That was straight in the front line. Every once in a while, you had a scrimmage, what you call a scrimmage. When we first made our first combat jump, we landed in, like I said, in Pyongyang. And we had a scrimmage with the North Korean army. We fought, I guess, for about 5-6 hours. The time doesn't flow by when you're in a combat zone. There's no time at all. The time flew by. Days were long. 8 hours feels like a week sometimes. It was long hours. No, no. Like I said, it was cold, very cold. Oh, I talked to a lot of Korean civilians. I mean, you can't help but talking to them. When you're in the village, you go from house to house and search, and you ask a lot of different questions. But they were hard to understand. Vice versa, they were hard for you to understand. Vice versa on that. But believe it or not, the Korean people, a lot of them was good people. Like I said, wars, when you have a war like that, it's hard to explain what I'm trying to say. See, the North Koreans were backed up by the Chinese, and therefore it made it even worse. You fought a tough enemy. I seen a lot of soldiers that got killed, very lot. We had 3,600 and something soldiers. Out of those 3,600 something soldiers, about 22,000 got killed, and about 1,000 got wounded. So I was very lucky. You know, I learned how to duck a lot. That stood in my foxhole a lot. I was fortunate. I was one out of 200-300 that didn't get wounded.